What's good, you guys? Can you believe we're actually in December? I mean, I blinked and this year has gone so fast. Literally, just like that. It's almost over. And wow, it just shows you how fast time goes. The older that you get, it literally goes at lightning speed. You know, when I was younger, people would tell me that and I'd be like, yeah, right. You know, they're just old and bored with their lives. No, it really does go super fast. But anyway, welcome back to another week of the Restart podcast. And as we close out this year, today I wanted to talk to you about the identity restart for specifically next year in 2026. And I was listening to a motivational speaker that I follow a few days ago, and I want to share something that she talked about, and that is our identity. And I know I've shared a little bit about this in a prior episode, but I think it's important enough to cover again a little bit more in depth here. And you know, I named my podcast the Restart Podcast because I wanted to reinvent my own self, and I wanted to change and grow and become a higher, better, more leveled up person of myself. And I thought, how can I do that the best way? What is the best word to describe me changing? And that word is restart. But it came to me through a discovery of my identity and who I really wanted to become in the future. So when I turned 40, and I know everybody has that epiphany when they turn 40, it's a really big deal because it is a life-changing year for most people. It's the year that we start to look at, okay, we're not young anymore, but we're not old either, but we are at literally that halfway point in our lives because the average lifespan, I think now is around 78, 79. So we'll just go ahead and round that up to an even 80, right? So when you hit 40, you're halfway done with your life. Most people by then. Some people, you know, they exit earlier. Some people live past 80, but for most of the population, your average lifespan is going to be around 80. So when you hit 40, you start thinking differently about your life and you start to really assess everything that you've done thus far up to age 40. And you're like, okay, is this the person that I want to continue being, or do I want to become someone else, someone better, someone smarter, someone more talented, someone with more skills, someone with a different job, someone who takes the different path in life? Who and what do I want to do with the rest of my years? So when I did turn 40, I had that revelation myself. And it started with my identity. And if you've listened to other past episodes of this show, then you have heard me talk about that fitness has been my whole entire life. I mean, I started working out in my living room of my parents' home at age 16. I would stay up late at night and do literally Richard Simmons or Jane Fonda workouts or Billy Blank's Tae Bo, if you're old enough to remember him. And then at 19, I started teaching group fitness classes, and I did that all the way up until the age of 46, which is where I'm at now. And I always thought I would do fitness forever until I took my last breath. I would be up there teaching, right? But something changed in me a couple years ago. And I was like, you know, I really don't think I want to do this anymore. My body started going into perimenopause, and I felt my energy levels being a little off. I was, you know, sleepy earlier in the night. And if I worked out too hard during the day, the soreness would just kill me for the next like 3 to 4 days. That lactic acid and that DOMS, that delayed onset muscle soreness would just be so much for me to handle. And I thought, man, I don't think that I not only want to keep doing this, but I don't think I can keep doing this going into the second half of my life. And I really took a self-assessment and I started to ask myself, what is it that I really want to do from this point forward? And I did a lot of self-work, personal development, meditation, prayer, reading books, going out in nature. And I discovered that what I really like to do is talk. I really like to talk and I like to share my stories and my life because I feel that they have meaning and significance and can help someone else who is also going through things to let them know that they're not alone. So I thought, okay, I'm going to switch from the fitness path to being a public speaker because that's what I want to do. I love being on stage. I'm not afraid of the camera. I'm not scared to be in front of people talking. Even if I flub up or whatever, I just correct myself and keep it moving. And I thought, okay, this is something that I can get behind because I have the energy and the youth and the enthusiasm to really bring the right word to people that need to hear it. And ever since that moment, my identity has shifted from a fitness person to a potential public speaker, but I'm getting practice publicly speaking through this podcast, right? So that is really how my life has changed. And believe me, I never thought I would be doing anything else besides fitness. I thought this is my go-to, my career until my last day on earth, right? But little did I know what the future was going to have in store for me. And then, of course, all the stuff that's happened since I made that decision, my son dying and losing a business that I had opened that was my dream business to, failed relationships to discovering things about my family that has just led to one epiphany after another and me really questioning everything that I was taught as a child growing up. And I'm like, wow, it's funny how life works for us. It's funny how life is working to shift things in my favor down the public speaking path. So with that being said, I want to ask you, what do you want to identify with and who do you want to identify as going forward in your life? Think about that for a second. What do you want to identify with and who do you want to identify as in the future? So we'll just use fitness, for example. If you say, well, I want to be healthier. Okay, we need to dissect that word healthier. What does being healthy mean to you? Does it mean just getting in daily movement every day, your steps, taking a walk in nature for 10 or 20 minutes? Or does it mean lifting like a bodybuilder would or lifting like a fitness competitor would? Does it mean going out and running a 5K or training for a marathon or doing a mud race? Those used to be popular back in the day. In the early 2000s, you would go and travel and do all these mud races. So what does healthy look like to you? That's the first thing you would need to figure out. And secondly, when you say, I want to be a healthy person, then you need to ask yourself, what would a healthy person do? What would a healthy person eat? How would a healthy person react in such and such situation? Right? If a healthy person who identifies as healthy and fit goes out to eat at a restaurant, then the healthy person is expected to get the healthiest thing on the menu, right? The thing that's not fried, not saturated in grease and butter. So if you say, I want to be that person, then are you willing to choose the lighter, healthier options on the menu? What would a healthy person do? If you say, well, I want to look like a fitness competitor, but yet the very next day you wake up and feel like shit, or you have a headache or a stomach ache, or you slept awful and you make excuses to get out of going to the gym that day to train, is that what a fitness competitor would do? Or would they maybe take some Advil, push the pain aside, wait for an hour or two, and then go to the gym anyway, right? So whatever you want to do, whoever you want to become, you need to first ask yourself, am I able to make the right decisions every day to identify as that person? And if the answer is, for instance, in fitness, if your answer is like, well, I'm not going to go to the gym today because it's raining and the rain makes me really tired and drowsy. I'll just go tomorrow when it's sunny and the weather is better. Or, yeah, we're going out to eat and I know that I should eat really good and clean, but damn, this restaurant has the best bread and butter that they serve before the meal. And I gotta try it. I can't give in and say, no, not today. If that's your thought process, then maybe you're not ready to identify as a healthy, fit person. So you might say, well, how can I identify then as a healthy, fit person? It starts by changing your thoughts. And in order to change your thoughts, you have to get at the root of why you want to identify as that person. Do you want to identify as healthy and fit because you admire a healthy, fit person because they show consistent discipline? Even when life gets hard, they show the fuck up, even when they don't want to. And maybe you look at that and you're like, wow, that's someone that I want to be. So what do you need to do mentally to get into that same state of mind? Because I guarantee you that fit person that you see was not always like that. They had to become an unstoppable force of nature. They had to train their mind to push through excuses and obstacles and difficulties to get to the gym and get that body. Are you ready? Are you willing? Are you capable of changing your identity to also become that? So these are things that you need to ask yourself. And if it's not fitness, it could be something totally different. You might say, I want to identify as a more loving, strong, capable, admirable, respected wife. Okay, well, what would an admirable, capable, strong, respected wife look like? Does she submit herself to her husband? Is she humble? Is she submissive? Is she nice and kind? Because if you're the kind of woman who says, well, I snap on people and I have an attitude and I can be mean and I'll hurt somebody's feelings, then you're probably not going to be that wife because you're not ready to become her yet. You see what I'm saying? So every level of your life, every change in your life requires a different version of you. So before you say, I wish I was her, I wish I was like that, I wish I was this fit, I wish I had their discipline, make sure that you're ready to level up your own life mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. Make sure that you're ready because it's not going to be easy and it's going to require a higher version of yourself. Amen? Amen. Hey, I hope this helped you today. If this resonated with you in any way, would you please do your girl a favor? Like, rate, review, and share this podcast, you guys. I am so excited and ready to expand this pod in 2026, but I need your help, obviously. Thank you so much for being here, for listening today, and join us next week as I do a recap of this year, 2025. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.